Oh man, I'm enjoying these new couches. They're not new.
Yeah.
These sofas.
Yeah, we got a new setup, a new studio
You've had
setup.
them. You've had them. But we were sitting on your. You sold it, the casting couch.
Yeah, it was totally like leather, employment opportunity couch. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. How much do you want to be in Hollywood?
Now, would you like to be in this movie?
Yeah. Okay. I like these. These feel like the type of couches that Grandma would congratulate Grandpa for a raise. The new job.
this is the kind of chair that like a husband comes home from work and just drinks furiously in.
Yeah.
In a separate quiet room, you know.
He drinks it, and then every once in a while his wife would check in with meatloaf. You know?
Yeah. Honey, I made you a roast.
It's always burnt.
You don't know how to cook.
Man, this is we've had a week. We
did a farm show.
Yeah, we
at the feed mill. The feed mill, St. Augustine.
If you had me come up with a venue that would have like everything about this felt random. It felt so random. It was, first of all, it's in outskirts of St. Augustine.
It was so outskirts of St. Augustine. It felt like when we were going to the Sausage Castle.
Yeah.
You know, like it was so farmland. I didn't even realize there's farmland like that in St. Augustine.
And here's the crazy thing. It's literally 8 miles away from Paper Route. It's on the same road. It's on the same road technically.
Wow.
So, like, if it's the difference between 8 miles is urban sprawl all the way out to what felt like Alabama.
Really? Yeah, it really did. It felt like a difference. And the girl was like, I loved it. She was from South Florida, but her family was from New Jersey, so she just reminded me of like every Jersey girl I've ever met. And she was like, I love it out here. I would never go anywhere else. Why would you go anywhere else? I'm just loving it out here in the farm, and we're getting along just fine.
And it's just,
and I was like, dude, you were like straight Jersey, like family. And then her husband, the guy making pizzas, was awesome.
Yeah.
He literally, like, I said this during my set, which was I bombed, and and I was like, but he went out, like, when I first got there and made pizza.
Yeah.
Or he made pizza. He said, do you want cheese, pepperoni, or veggie? And I said, make me something like you choose whatever you want.
Yeah.
And he said, I have these like, and he said the name, and I'd never heard of it.
Yeah.
And he goes, they're like this flour, but it tastes bright, kind of citrusy.
Yeah.
And he goes, that and sausage together is really good. I was like, do it. And he went into the field. Like, he walked away from where we were.
Yeah.
And he, like, disappeared into the night. And then he came back, like, cradling, like, they looked like, do you know dragon fruit? Or, like, those tropical, like, they look like, it looks like something from a video game.
Yeah.
But, like, he came back with a handful of those. And he was like, this was it.
And I love how you were like, surprise me. And then he was just like, that's all the pizzas I'm making today. Because literally everyone that bought a pizza, that's what I saw on their pizza.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Like the one Christina bought was the same one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe he was like, oh, yeah, we got this and that. It was so good. Whatever those were, I'd never heard of it, but it was like eating, it was like a cross between like, I don't know. It was like bright and citrusy. It was delicious.
It was good.
I loved it.
Cause you gave me a slice, and then when Christina had the pizza, hers got to cool down. Because when you gave me a slice, it was like piping hot.
Yeah, it was.
So I didn't notice this, but it was also drizzled with honey.
It did, yeah.
It was drizzled with honey. So when it got to cool down, I got to taste like I didn't feel the heat. It was just like I got to take the honey had like coagulated a little bit.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Oh my god! I was like, oh, this is. I never thought I'd go perform at a farm that made brick oven pizzas.
Yeah,
that made no. I mean, I did have that on my bingo card.
And then all the animals was such an amazing. So there's just chickens and ducks and like one cow and one other kind of something and but the way they were like quacking in time with jokes and stuff
Oh,
was,
that was
so
hilarious.
funny.
Yeah, I think everyone on the show had a perfectly timed animal interaction type thing.
Yeah.
I think what you had a clucking. You had a couple of chickens, right?
Yeah, I had
And
a motorcycle guy go
Oh yeah.
by.
Oh, that was that was hilarious. That was where you're like he's going to a gay bar.
I was like, I didn't know how to read that audience because they were like country, but they bought tickets to a Don't Tell show. So I'm like, these are like hipster country people.
Yeah.
You know, they're like trying to gentrify an area. Or
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know how to read this, and everyone was doing a really good job of like calling the room, you know, like joking about the room, and I felt like it was all mostly addressed.
Yeah.
You know, the environment. So yeah, it was interesting. It was an interesting set.
It was also hard. I mean, it was hard to read the room because you couldn't see them.
You couldn't see anything.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I do much better when I could see everyone in, like, especially an audience, when you could see if you have like a wraparound stage, or anytime I could see everyone, I have better sets just because I like to interact.
Yeah.
With like that, it was so dark. I
Yeah.
mean, like pitch black and then blinding light.
Yeah.
So I was just like, oh, okay.
It felt like I'm surprised no one addresses, but it felt like we were performing our way out of a ticket.
Yes. Yeah. It felt like deathbed confessional. Like I was just, it was just, it's weird. And then like you want to put your hands up and like cover your face, but that looks strange to them.
Yeah.
Even though it feels good to you because you're like, oh my God. But yeah. So it was good. You dressed up really funny.
I was the only
amazing.
I was the only one that wore a costume because I'm like, it's like
because you had like cowboy hat, which was great, but the fringe scarf, and then your pants, and you had boots on.
Yeah,
but your pants were just tight enough that you looked like a gay cowboy. Like it went from regular ranch hand to gay cowboy just because your pants were it's too tight, you know. It was so funny, and you looked fabulous and like with flowy and fringy.
I looked fabulous.
I think someone got a really good shadow picture of you, like a silhouette
I gotta get
photo.
that. I gotta get that. That's a fun photo.
The pig crossed the stage when Brian Ziola was on stage, which was great.
So for anyone listening that doesn't know Brian Ziola, he's about 6'4", 6'3", 6'4", something like that. But he's also a pretty girthy dude. Pretty big boy. And biggest guy in the show.
He's like looks in the vein of like a Big J Okerson, or like but with long hair and like and he's like real likable, affable kind of personality, like very sweet. He's like a really sweet guy.
So he's on stage, and then a pig decides to cross the
slowly,
dude. That's my
comedically
favorite.
perfectly slow, like just like do. It was amazing.
Oh,
really, really funny. It was a better. Did you guys go out for food after that? Or
no, we got pizza.
No,
we got pizza
just because you had pizza. Yeah.
Well, we stopped at Buc-ee's afterwards.
Oh, Buc-ee's.
But
okay.
that was literally to pick up stuff for other people. Like
okay.
For her husband.
Everyone's got a Buc-ee's order.
Yeah.
Buc-ee's goes deep. I was really tempted. I was driving by it, and I had the opportunity, and I resisted because I was like, I'm gonna go in there and get a brisket sandwich and a burrito. I was like, I'm gonna go ham, you know?
Yeah.
Go literal ham. I'm gonna buy ham.
They got some stuff there I just found out about that I want to try, and I keep forgetting every time I go in there. They have a jambalaya stuffed chicken.
Really?
Yeah.
Where? Like in the
frozen, so you know where the beef jerky section is at?
Yeah.
So there's like a couple.
I wonder
coolers.
if the beef jerky's good.
I don't think I've ever had it.
It looks there's so many.
Yeah, jerky's tough on my teeth now, so I don't really eat it a lot.
Yeah.
But they have a crawfish jambalaya stuffed chicken.
Oh, okay.
And I saw someone on TikTok cook it, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And then I keep forgetting every time I'm in there.
Yeah, they got a crazy barbecue section too.
Yeah, I got to cook some of that stuff up. every time I go there so late, because I kind of prefer it because it's like it's not so crowded.
Yeah.
You know, and they still pretty much carry most of the same stuff that I would get if it was like 5 o'clock or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Their desserts they keep interchanging the stuff they have in their dessert section. So right now usually my go-to thing is like these giant peanut butter cups.
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, yeah. And then, but now they got these whoopie pies. I don't know if you ever.
I've had a whoopie pie.
Yeah, so they got a red velvet whoopie pie.
Okay.
And it's dangerous because it got cream cheese icing.
Yeah.
Oh god. Yeah.
I got something called a Goo Goo cluster. Do you know what that is?
I'm assuming it's caramel and nuts or something like that.
It was in Georgia. I want to say Georgia. And it's sort of like a whoopie pie. Like whoopie pie is Texas.
Yeah.
And those are great. But I'd never had one. And I just heard the name Goo Goo Cluster, or I felt like I heard it. But that's a fun name. Like something's called Goo Goo Cluster. Like you want to eat that.
Yeah.
You know? And I 11 minutes we could say whatever the fuck we want. No, so I got it and it was remarkably good. Like,
oh, right.
I don't even candy very rarely impresses me anymore because I feel like candy was better when we were young, and I don't know, it was because we were young or it was better back then. I think it because it was better. But anytime I eat candy I'm like, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
But this was incredible. I don't even remember what's in it, but caramel was in the equation. But man, it's so good.
Yeah, I think when you get older, it's less candy that's appealing and more things that are considered almost desserts or a specialty item.
Yeah.
You know, like I rarely. I mean, I love gummies, but that's just me. I also love the texture, and I love that. You know, for the most part, even if you have like funky teeth, you can eat gummies. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love gummies too. Do you like Starburst? I
like Starburst. I actually had Starburst on the way here. So yeah, because I went to I've been going to a bunch of like Halloween themed stuff. So they have candy, and no one's getting it. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm just gonna scoop up all your Starburst, dude. If it's not gummies, I'm grabbing Starburst or gum. Hard candy, I can't do hard candy anymore because I'm not patient enough to just let it.
I'm the same way, and then you end up biting it.
Yeah, and then now you got to
stuck in your teeth, or it hurts your teeth. Yeah, that's no good.
Yeah.
What's a candy that you like more now as an adult than you did as a kid? I'll say Kit Kat, which I used to be indifferent about, but as an adult I've had it. I'm like, this is very good.
Yeah, Kit Kat's good. I've never really. I've always liked Kit Kat.
Yeah,
I think I like it differently now though.
Depends on how many friends you have around.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I like it. I have to have my Kit Kats refrigerated a little bit.
Oh, okay.
So where the chocolate gets hard.
Yeah, I like frozen. My grandmother used to do Snickers in the freezer.
That's too tough for me.
It shatters.
Oh yeah, I don't I don't like shards of anything in my mouth.
I like a shrapnel of Snickers. Yeah. Oh, just shattered. Like it's great because it's a very specific. It's funny how texture like really plays. If you have like the right amount of autism, how much texture plays into it. Like I like Teddy Grahams. If you leave the box open overnight and then the next day. And they're like just not stale, but when they're softened.
They're pliable.
Yeah.
They're pliable.
You bite and oh man.
I'm like that with cookies, like chocolate chip cookies.
Yeah.
I like soft batch. I do not like hard ones. I will eat hard cookies, chocolate chip cookies if I'm either have a sweet tooth enough or I'm hungry enough. But if you give me a chocolate chip cookie, I prefer it to be pliable.
Soft,
yeah.
I say that, but I'll mess up a bag of Tate's. That like those fancy ones, but I prefer soft too.
Yeah, I mean I'll screw up a bag of Tate's, but mainly if I'm like bored.
It does tuck into it. You bite it and it turns into like cookie sand.
Yeah,
and it's interesting. I don't know. It's different. Better to soft. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I've been eating differently, like just texturally, and just of course I've talked plenty of times about my love of pho.
Yeah.
I've been eating so much soup, but then I think it's like my body is like reacting differently now to me eating things that are different than what I've historically been eating,
Okay.
and then changing it up back to things I used to eat. Because now, like today, I'm trying to pinpoint what the hell I ate. I fucking shit my pants today, dude.
Oh.
Like legit.
Where? No, give us the whole story.
I was. It came out of nowhere. Like normally when
What came out of your butt?
normally when I know that I'm in a situation where I am going to probably have to take a shit soon.
Yeah.
There is a lead up. There's like a warning sign. There's like, like growling bubble guts, or even that like puckering feeling, like, oh, what the hell?
Yeah.
There was no warning. I was running some errands.
Almost like food poisoning?
Almost. Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost like food poisoning.
Okay, so you're running errands. Where are you?
I was near my house. I was running. So I went to go grab something to eat from my mom, and then I had to go run some other things before that because I didn't want the food to get cold,
Yeah.
So I'm running some other errands, and I go get the food, and then I'm on the way back, and then like I'm turning the corner. I'm on the street, and like. No. I would say about maybe a half a mile tops away, out of nowhere.
From your house?
Yeah, I'm like, what the fuck is happening? I gotta take a shit. Like, I'm like, this feels urgent, And then it just was like there was a truck in front of me. And then it was like a big truck, so he's turning, but of course he can't turn. He's taking up the whole room, and I'm just like, "Fucking move! Fucking, I got shit!" and then I'm like, "All right," and then I go, "I'm good. I'm like, I'm convincing myself, like trying to convince my body.
Yeah, trying to.
And then that truck moves, and then there's a truck in front of him, and the truck has got his hazard lights on, and I'm like, what is this shit? What is happening right now?
So he's construction work when
he turned, and I got to clear away. I turned left onto my road, onto my street or whatever, and then I get in a driveway, and I'm like, oh, I got all this stuff to take in the house, and then I was like, I'm good, so I go around to open the door.
Fatal mistake.
I go to grab it, and then I realize I'm not going to be able to grab this and take care of business. So I shut the door, open the door, and I run, and my mom said, "You okay?" I'm like, "I got to poop," and then I literally shit myself staring at the toilet.
No.
I was staring at the toilet.
No.
I shit my pants I'm in the bathroom.
Oh, no.
I was that close, dude.
You were so close.
I was so close.
So close.
Yeah, dude. So it was embarrassing. I was like, I never thought as a 39-year-old man that I'd have to fucking.
It was the fatal, but it was going to the side of the car and saying, I'm good, I could get this stuff. Instead of... See, sometimes you ever get... when you're driving and you have to shit so bad, and then you can't, like, you get to the place, but you can't even move your legs.
Yes.
Because you're like, if I move my leg to get out of this car, I'm shitting.
Yeah.
And you're like stuck, and you're just like, I've had it where I'm like pressing my legs stiff, where you're almost like you're standing up, but you're like flexing your quads and pressing.
Yeah.
And you're just like, ah!
Yes.
Oh.
That's exactly what I was doing when I was behind the truck.
Okay, yeah.
I was like, and I was
when your quads are flexed to max, just to, I mean, it's really like.
And it was here's the worst part. It was like daytime. If it was at night, I've done this plenty of times when I really had to pee.
Yeah.
Just get out of the car, just piss wherever I'm at.
Oh yeah.
Like there was a couple times where I was door dashing. And I just got done delivering an order, and I know the nearest restrooms at a gas station 2 miles away or whatever. And I'm like, I got fucking pissed now.
Yeah.
And I can't. It's 11:30. I can't knock on the door and be like, hey, is there any way I can use your restroom? That's not happening. They're not letting me in. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So I just go in the apartment complex and I just piss at a bush, or sometimes I'll just open my door and then piss outward behind the car.
Yeah.
It was, so I'm not exposed or whatever. Honestly, if it was at night, I would have just shit in my yard. I would like a dog.
I like the open your car door, driver's side door, stand, and pretend you're on your cell phone. Stand completely standing up, and then you pee in the space in between the open car door and your car.
Yeah.
Because you're kind of blocked from the front with your car, with your door open.
Yeah.
And then the back, it just looks like you're on the phone. So unless someone like actually walks up on you, it's pretty safe.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know.
I mean, my thing is,
I guess peeing in public is just a risk because you're like on sex offender registry if you get public nudity, right?
I think so. I'm not sure.
I've pissed in every corner of the earth in public. So
my worry though is trying to stay stealthy while pissing.
Yeah.
Because when I'm at,
do you ever let out like 20% and then you have to keep moving?
I've done that. Yeah, and
that's really hard.
All over my
that's
pants.
hard. Yeah,
I was pissed all over myself. I don't like that. Because like when I get to the point where I gotta pee.
Yeah.
Like what comes out is like it feels like a culvert for the Hoover Dam gets released. I'm like, what the fuck? Like I'm almost concerned that I maybe have had kidney stones.
Yeah.
But my stream is so strong.
that
it just shot out like a fucking pellet gun.
Yeah.
Because
peeing feels great, and that's a universal feeling, and I think women piss so much.
Yeah.
And
they
loud
piss hard
too.
Yeah, they're real. They got power streams, dude.
I joke about it on stage sometimes, but it's very loud and violent.
There was another comic I knew that used to be like, "Women, why you pee so hard?" That was how he asked the question. Why
That's
you
so
pee
funny.
so hard?
It's true. It sounds like they're like mad.
Yeah.
It's like guys can make that sound that a woman makes like all the time, but you have to like try. You have to push as hard as you can.
Yeah.
And that only lasts for like 2/3 of the pee.
Yeah.
And then you'll run out of force.
Dude, what was the longest time? One time I clocked it. I clocked how long I pissed.
Oh yeah.
On a road trip, and I was like trying.
Really long pees are amazing.
Yeah, dude. It almost.
Wait, so how long did you go? I don't have a frame of reference because I don't.
I clocked it 52 seconds.
52.
Almost a fucking full minute of pissing.
Wow.
Like it was like this is how I knew I was in there for a while. Dudes were like literally guys were coming and going, and I was still going.
I think there's I thought, and I could be wrong, but I thought that there is a average amount of time that it takes for a person to pee.
Yeah.
And it's the same for like women and men. And it's like a specific number. And I want to say it's like 23 seconds or 17 seconds or so.
That makes sense.
It's something like that. So 53, you're talking like 2. Yeah, I probably did double duty,
I'm fairly certain that I've done triple that.
Yeah.
But I just never clocked it. Like this one, I actually put a timer on. I don't know why, but what possessed me, and it was like 53 seconds.
That's amazing.
53 seconds.
Yeah, it's no good.
Yeah.
I like having to. What about you ever get constipated?
Oh yeah, yeah. Well,
imagine having get like constipation, but it was like you couldn't pee. That would be brutal.
Oh, that would suck.
I don't know if that exists.
Well, I guess that's what kidney stones are for some people.
Oh yeah,
some people when they get kidney stones they
blocking the dam.
Yeah, they go to pee and they can't because it's blocked up. But I guess my urine stream is like It's
like a fire hose.
It's fucking set to North Carolina River after Helene. It's brutal. It's
Save Save North Carolina, goddammit. Someone do something.
Yeah, no one's doing. They
I heard that the lady was telling me that on social media there have reports of people in Asheville and like the surrounding towns that there's just piles of rubble and they're starting to smell awful because they think there's dead bodies in the rubble.
I wouldn't doubt it.
So is that crazy?
That's insane. I have I have a cousin who used to live in he lived in Asheville. He just moved like 6 months ago.
Yeah.
To South Carolina. And then I have a friend I just reconnected with who she just lost everything. She lost her whole she got lucky though in a sense because she was already moving, and so she had moved a lot of her stuff in storage in another town.
Moved her house for her.
Yeah. He's like, oh my God, how do you know I wanted to be relocated into this side wall of interstate?
I'm planning on moving my house 30 meters down the mountain.
Yeah.
And
I mean, you lived there, right?
No, not Nashville. I lived in Raleigh.
Oh, Raleigh. Okay.
So that's like the eastern part of the state where it's very flat and boring. Asheville is very cool. I would like living there, but that whole situation is very scary. The west coast of Florida seems fun, but that's scary. Like everywhere seems scary, you know.
I'm starting to worry that like I'm a curse. Every place that I really considered moving to, actually, not like I like visiting this place, but I actually considered moving to.
Yeah,
has been getting fucked up by hurricanes.
Yeah, so I agree. Because those are two places that I enjoy and I would consider moving.
Yeah.
And that's like a real threat, like the weather, you know.
Yeah.
But maybe like Asheville, that's like 100-year storm.
Yeah.
To hit it, and so you go, hey, maybe statistically, it's a good time to go because I don't know. It's crazy though. It's like it sucks that you can't just live places and be peaceful.
And then there's all the conspiracy theories and stuff.
Oh yeah,
I don't know if you heard some of them. There's
my barber told me.
Oh, your barber told you? Which one was this one?
The guy who's cutting my hair, and he does an okay job, but he goes, I go, man, I feel so bad for the people up in North Carolina, and he goes, yeah, but you know what they're saying, the government's controlling the weather, and they're sending those hurricanes to those people. And I was like, I was like, I was like, just a little off the top, and we can wrap it up. It's hard. What do you even say to that? When you're like they're
that's conniving, dude. He knows you can't go anywhere.
Yeah, and he's got a blade to my. To my face.
I could fuck you up or fuck you up.
Yeah.
But you gotta listen to this conspiracy theory.
You gotta listen.
Yeah, the one of the ones I've been hearing was I've heard the Jew controlling mechanism or whatever.
Weather,
I'm like, cloud
seeding and stuff.
Yeesh. And then I was hearing that there's like these there's like a couple mines like in the mountains, near, like there's a huge mine that was the government just like seized control of or something like that near Asheville, and then there was a dispute or something like that, and then supposedly one of the places like that was had control of it just got destroyed in the wake, and I'm like. Every time I hear a conspiracy theory, I don't want to go. I don't want to listen to it blindly. I don't want to just be like, I just agree with everything it's like.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, now it's like, now you're forcing me to do homework.
Now I gotta look it up.
I don't want to keep doing
what
research.
Mine?
Yeah, that now I understand why people just went with shit, because it's like, man, I gotta fact check this motherfucker, you know.
There's a North Carolina company, because I've heard this too about the mines in North Carolina and about lithium.
That's what it was.
Yeah. So, and there's a company called Albemarle that's in North Carolina, and they're like the leading producer of lithium for the world, and so they're significant, but they're also, it's not like a gigantic company, and I don't foresee. I don't know the situation you're talking about. How it's disputed.
I think it was correlated. It's just the person telling me this particular one was. I was like, oh, interesting, and then he started going into such weird details.
Yeah,
and I was like, okay, I'm not following everything you're saying. And then he was not a good storyteller, so he would just go deviate. He would get sidetracked.
Yeah.
He would go on like several side missions in the middle of his story, and it's like, oh, okay, what does this have to do with this? What does this bread company?
See, it's wild when people talk like that. I like a financial like thing when it's like, this event was weird, and if you follow the money, like, but when you're talking about controlling hurricanes, that's almost like. It's almost like getting into like supernatural, you know.
Yeah.
To me, anyway.
Yeah.
But if someone's like, you know, this happened, and you follow the money, you know, sometimes you're like, you look at it, you're like, huh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, at that point, you might as well just be like, hey, you know who killed all those people? Aquaman. Yeah. It's like, all right, this is not making any sense.
Yeah.
You know. I always find it weird that people look at my face and just trust me implicitly to just tell me all their secrets.
Well, you look like someone who you'd say a conspiracy to, and then you'd have like 6 more facts about it that you never even knew.
Listen
to
your brother, all right?
You know, like I would say to you, like on September 10th, 2001. They announced that there's $3 trillion missing, unaccounted for, and then
and it all goes back to DB Cooper, right?
DB Cooper stole $3 trillion from the military.
Yeah, he didn't go missing in '72. He's been around. He's been invested in stocks this whole time.
No, but you have like the you have like white conspiracy theorists look about you, and I mean that in a gentle and positive way.
That's like Brian Posehn's joke where he goes to the strip club, and the stripper goes to him, "You look like you love to bend sluts over and fuck them from behind." He goes, "I look like that? What can I do not to look like that?"
Oh, that's so funny.
Oh man,
he's funny.
It's so funny to like. What's your take on whole Tony Hinchcliffe thing? You know anything about that?
Oh yeah. Oh dude.
Yeah.
So, I saw like some of the jokes played, like the clips played, and there was like a bunch of like low hanging fruit, like hacky, like racist jokes.
Yeah.
And it seemed like it was getting a lot of groans. I think he even at one point he said, "This is a groany crowd." But so to me, like as a comedian, if you're on a stage that large, like I would try to not be like you could try like to make points or like jokes or whatever.
Yeah.
But I would try to like make it good, you know?
Yeah.
I would really try to make it good. It seemed like he just spent like an hour tops sketching out a few ideas and just did it, or some people just, I don't know. It seemed like it was just a thing. But anyway, the reaction to it was funny because I'm getting tons of text messages from my California friends who don't speak in their own thoughts, but they speak in links to Twitter comments and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's people like this. So you're like you're like, this is a point I'm making, and they're like, they just send you 3 links.
Oh God.
But they were like, they were like ripping him apart, and he's the worst comedian that's ever lived, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, well, it's a shitty, like, it's a corporate, essentially like a corporate gig.
Yeah.
So it's just like you're almost essentially you're almost expected to bomb at like corporate stuff. If I were him, I would not want to have been on that grand of scale. Like, and you're associating yourself with politics at like the feverish highest, most like insane time. So I don't know. It's hard to be like, I would have done, not me personally done better, but like, I think as a comic, you'd want to represent yourself as well, or like, I don't know. That's a whole bunch of.
Yeah, there was so many people that were on upset on both sides of the coin as far as like how they felt about it. I try to pull away from it from a political aspect. I try to view it solely as a comedian.
Yes. Yeah.
And like there's a lot
That's more so how I was.
So one of the things that was annoying for me is like, on one hand, I don't really particularly care for Trump and that whole world and a lot of like conservative stuff, whatever. On the other hand, I'm a comedian, and I enjoy, when comedians get gigs and free speech and stuff like. I think anything can be joked about, but you got to make it funny. You got to make you got to put your work into it. And so my thing was here's the weird thing I don't think a lot of people took in consideration was. A lot of people were comparing it to like Don Rickles. Like, what's the difference? Don Rickles, like, well, if Don Rickles would have roasted the people in the room.
Yeah.
He would have roasted Trump.
Yes.
And so it just felt like a bully thing, and it felt arrogant too. Like it was like, I'm gonna say these awful jokes, and what are you gonna do about it?
Yeah,
kind of thing.
He's very schmarmy and like,
and I that's part of the reason I don't like him.
Yeah, he seems to be like greatly like this. Almost was like a lot of opportunity for people to come out and say how much they don't like him, and he falls under the Joe Rogan umbrella of that like Austin comedy scene.
Yeah,
which a lot of I know you said it's like pro wrestling. A lot of people in LA I've heard describe it as like a cult, and it's sort of like, I think people are angered and annoyed at because it's sort of like a random grouping of like comedians that he toted along,
Yeah.
And Tony Hinchcliffe of all is not like, when you think of great comedians, he's not someone who's named,
Yeah.
But he's given all these opportunities because he's like a Joe Rogan butt dog.
Yeah,
whatever they were.
That annoyed me too was like, so like I said, I always will try to be defensive of comedians, whenever possible, when they're putting on the spotlight. But there was not a lot of things I found defensible about it. But then what annoyed me was other comedians who I would they were trying to be defensive of comics, like, no, you should, it's even a joke bomb is still a joke. But then I look at your track record, I'm like, oh, you're championing, this is the avenue you think is gonna pop you. Like, there's a lot of people that don't want to burn the Tony Bridge because they want to fly to Austin and get pulled from a bucket. So they were being defensive of that, and it's like, come on, man, like, just
1 minute of comedy.
Call a spade a spade. Also, I have actual proof. I'll show you when we were done of Tony Hinchcliffe, that Puerto Rico joke.
Yeah,
it's just a jack joke of a friend of mine's joke.
Yeah,
that was on Kill Tony and did that joke on his podcast.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
This felt, his set was so bad. It felt like a like hastily put together, like poorly thought out.
Yeah,
and I could see like pulling something like that. But it's sort of like, even if he was gonna go the route, like, I'm gonna say like over the top racist jokes, like racial jokes.
Yeah,
there would have been a way to make it known that he was like poking fun at the idea of racism, as opposed to like being like, I hate this group of people.
Yeah.
You know, like there's a way to like endear yourself enough or like come across. So it was just like bad comedy. So it's like not, you know, people could say like, oh, you're supposed to defend comics or whatever, but like to me as a comedian, that it felt like it wasn't trying or didn't put anything into it.
Yeah.
And then he sort of bombed, and because people hate people on, you know, on one side hate Trump so much, they're taking all of that emotion that's going on right now because we're so close to the election. They're all just taking it, you know.
Yeah.
It's a part of the elevation of like the hate and like all the ridicule he's getting. I said to my friends, because they kept sending me, this is the biggest bomb of all time. Look how pathetic this guy is. Fuck. And it's all these comedians making jokes. Your favorite comedian's least favorite comedian. That was Michael Ian Black. That was funny. But they're doing all this stuff, and my friends are all my California friends are going, he's going to cost Trump the election over these racist jokes. And I said, then shouldn't the left be like celebrating Tony Hinchcliffe? Shouldn't he be like a folk hero of the left because he won the election for Kamala Harris?
I mean, honestly, the thing is,
and then someone else said it's a conspiracy that Tony Hinchcliffe was paid off by the left to do this, and I go, I'm checking out of Earth. Like
I get,
I was like, this is unbelievable.
I mean, the one thing that I think that like comics, whether you defend them or not, are not taking into consideration is because they're like the backlash for Tony. They're like, his show's done. I'm like, no, the people that are listening to him are still going to listen to him.
Yeah,
he's not going to get affected, and if he does get affected, it's going to be a trickle. It's going to be a slow burn. What's going to happen is the people that are going to get affected from that are lower level comics.
We're having one of like the most contentious elections in modern history.
Yeah.
In 2 weeks, everyone's going to forget about this.
Yeah.
He's not going to get affected. This will be nobody will remember this. Yeah. Nobody will remember this. And the election's going to happen, and then whatever happens with that, like that's what people, and that's going to be the talk, and you know, going. So it doesn't. It's almost like if you ever wanted to do something terrible,
now's the time.
Oh, what is her name? Oh, who's the comic? Oh,
Kathy Griffin?
Woman comic. No, not Kathy Griffin. She, on also September 10th, went to court for molesting kids. 2001.
Wait, what?
Oh my God! You gotta look it up. It's a woman comic, and I forget her. I forget the name, and we can't just go tossing out names about this. But this is look that up.
Okay.
Female comic, right before 9/11.
Right before 9.
Best timing of child molestation case of all time. Oh, I talk conspiracy. Maybe that lady flew those planes. So I don't know. That's real.
That's why it was Flight 94, because you had the numbers. That's
9
the
and
age
4.
Of the victim. 9 and 4.
Oh, yeah, add them up.
That's the age.
13.
Yeah. And the kids were also 9 and 11.
It was symbolism.
Jesus Christ.
Man. Yeah, I want to look it up. What would you? I felt like we were just gonna say something else.
Oh no, I was like, sadly, I think the only thing that people will remember is corporations are gonna be less likely to hire comedians.
Yes. Oh yeah.
That's gonna be the lasting legacy of that. It's not gonna.
Yeah.
It's not gonna affect Trump or this way or that. I think the lasting legacy of that is just gonna be. It's gonna be companies are gonna be more hard pressed to want to book stand-up comedians as their spokesperson. Or the person's in charge of like doing their event.
It's almost like the Oscars or whatever. How they used to have comedians, and then Ricky Gervais made fun of everyone, and they were like,
So then they started, and if they did have a comedian, it was someone they considered safe. I don't know this.
I think you're right though. It's going to be like less. Yeah. It's
So somehow once again, Kill Tony's gonna fuck me over.
Look at that. Look, read that top. Don't read that top headline. But I was just Googled what I was telling Marcus. Look at the date.
The timing, yes.
And it happened. I was like, right, yeah.
From June.
Timing.
Oh my God, that's
wild, huh?
That's that child molestation case took a pounding.
Yeah. The court fees would be paid in stones in certain countries. It would happen in Europe.
Oh my God.
Anyway, so it's wild. Yeah, I enjoy time. That has nothing to do with 9. It has only 9/11 is a happy coincidence. But I enjoy timing things like $3 trillion going missing, and then the next day the office that it went missing
there's
from.
Quite a bit of that.
Yeah.
I mean, and now I see why there's so many conspiracy theories. What was it? God, I can't remember. Oh, Ron Funches. He has a joke about conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
He doesn't trust anyone that doesn't believe at least one conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
He's like, you don't believe one conspiracy theory? you're just thinking that the U.S. government's batting 1,000 when it comes to the. He goes. I have one person that I'm in charge of, and that's my kid. Like I'm in charge of his life and safety and well being.
Yeah.
And I lie to that motherfucker every day. And I was like, damn, that's a good take on the conspiracy theories.
Yeah. I think it's more like it's not so much like conspiracy theories as so much as it's like interests of powerful people that work together. Like people will call it like the Illuminati or the deep state or whatever. But it's like it's not that. It's just the most powerful people working for their own interests, you know? And it's the influence that they have over politicians who will take money over doing, representing or doing the right thing for what's best for people, which is like just will always happen. It seems like it will just always happen. And I saw an interesting thing today. It was like the net worth of presidents going into their presidency and coming out.
Oh, yeah.
So that was really interesting.
Yeah.
Everyone doubles their money basically.
Yeah.
Except Slick Willie Clinton. He came into the White House with like $1.5 million.
Yeah.
And guess how much he left? So you're talking like George H.W. Bush. They were like, he came in with $23 million and he left with $40 million. It's all numbers like that.
Yeah.
Barack Obama came in with like $1 million and he left with, $7 million or whatever.
Yeah.
Bill Clinton, guess. He came in with $1.5 million. Guess how much he left with?
How much?
$250 million.
Oh, God. Yeah, that's
awesome. They get paid $400,000 a year, by the way. So
yeah,
and that's just the president. So you're talking like politicians all over the place. So it's like, but all the people get fucked, and then everything costs 4 times as much as it should.
What's your favorite conspiracy? It could be anything. It could be a government thing. It could be like I have some fun ones about like Bigfoot and stuff.
Oh yeah, like cryptids
and
stuff. Favorite one. I'd really have to. Oh, god damn it! I would love to have thought about this because I like financial stuff. I like financial conspiracies where it's like it makes sense monetarily.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's an interesting one. A lot of people right before the Vegas shooting shorted the casinos that the MGM stock was shorted prior to the Vegas shooting at something like 70 times the volume that it normally does. So there's stuff like that. There's this has also happened 9/11. There were people who shorted or did put options on airline stocks.
Yeah.
At volumes like way far exceeding normal activity. So you see stuff like that. So those are that's like not a specific. It's very general, sort of what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But when you see like stuff like that, you go, I wonder if there's some sort of prior knowledge. I wonder if there's some. It's interesting. I find that stuff interesting.
Yeah, it's funny. One of my most interesting ones I've heard was I don't follow too many like financial ones.
Yeah.
But this one was this is going back to the Titanic. There was I think it was like a Rockefeller or one of those type of prominent figures. That was on the Titanic.
Yeah,
and
they were. Yeah, go on.
And if I'm not mistaken, they told him not to go on it, and told this other guy who was in contention with Rockefeller or something like that.
Yeah,
and he went. They
were opposed to starting the Federal Reserve.
That's what it was. Yeah,
and it was Astor is the last name, and they were extremely wealthy people.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was a conspiracy of that, but that they I don't know, they sunk it, but who knows, like that stuff is wild.
Remind you the movie Ghost Ship, since we're in spooky season.
Spooky, yeah, Halloween.
Have you ever seen a movie Ghost Ship?
No.
Oh, okay. Ghost Ship is basically there is the Satan has basically a reaper, like a demon reaper, in the form of a dude, and basically he sets up these ghost ships loaded with gold, and he basically like lures people on there, and then he kills them so he can. So basically, he kills them, and the goal is to reach a certain amount of souls. Then he's going to sink the ship, and then take all the souls to hell.
Okay.
So everyone that's like that gets killed on the ship is cursed. They're going to hell.
Yeah.
But it's got to reach the quota of souls. So like the beginning of the movie, it's I think the first incarnation of this particular.
It has like a quarterly goal.
Yeah, it's like it's corporate Satanism.
Corporate Satanism.
Yeah,
so he's like, you're not putting up numbers.
Yeah.
Listen, are you really even trying?
All right, we need to put the sin in synergy. All right, so like the beginning of this, it's like basically like a Titanic like cruise ship.
Yeah,
and then they have this whole scene. It's wild too. There's like ballroom, and there's like a little girl dancing with the captain of the boat, or something. And then next thing you know, you see this like wire just come across and cuts everyone in half.
Oh, nice!
And so basically,
I like a wire cutting people in half.
Oh, it is so graphic
so
too. Like the gore effects on this are amazing. But yeah, so that's what essentially what it, like anytime I hear like these like boat stories, there's a bunch of them. I went on this like rabbit hole on YouTube, about like all these sinking ships and all these different things, and like there was one where like a missile, like during war times, like a U-boat, a German U-boat sank a ship or whatever, but then they were like, oh, there was a miscommunication. Then it turned out there was potentially like gold on there, gold bullion or something like that.
Yeah.
It's always so interesting to me for that. And then another one of my favorite conspiracy theories is like, everyone's like, why is Bigfoot so elusive and stuff? And so the theory is like Bigfoot is like this interdimensional being.
Oh,
who basically can cross dimensions, and
that's what the blur is.
That's
dimension crossing.
That's the blur, but that's also why like they could just appear and then disappear.
Oh,
seemingly at will. Is that, and I'm like, that's way scarier. Like giant interdimensional ape men. And then like I watch a lot of like travel channels. Now it's like all paranormal.
Yeah.
And there's so many like shows about Bigfoot, and they're like more and more terrifying about like what Bigfoot physically can do and stuff like that. They're like there's a guy's like, yeah, he broke my truck in half, and like it's like these weird stories, and I'm like, whoa, I just thought it was just like
nerding out on Bigfoot.
I'm nerding out on Bigfoot, and that's my fear, is like actually having an encounter and now looking the way I do, and then having a Bigfoot encounter, and I'm just another redneck looking dude who no one believes. I saw Sasquatch. Yeah, I don't know.
That's pretty good.
Plus, woods scare me.
Woods?
Yeah,
it is. Yeah,
I think
the woods
I
are
think
scary.
just vastness in general. Like I was talking to a friend of mine, he loves it. Like he lives in Daytona and he lives by the beach, and he feels confined when he's in the city, but when he goes to the beach and steps on that sand and just looks out to the ocean, he's like, "Oh, I feel comforted because I don't feel trapped."
Huh.
And I'm the opposite sometimes. Like I sometimes am like, I don't like the idea of just infinite vastness. It's like
I've had this argument
terrifying.
with 'cause I grew up in New York and then going to college in the South. My Southern friends, and we would argue like what's scarier, the city or the country. And I would say like open land when you're like driving on a road and there's nothing around you.
Oh God.
Just open land. I said that's terrifying, and they go, "No way, like being in a city, there's so many other people, that's scary." And we used to debate this, and it's a funny and it's an interesting it's interesting to hear what people think, because people are on both sides of the argument and don't they have like their own reasons. But to me, it's like I love horror movies, and they all take place in like the vast openness. Rarely do you have like a city set horror movie. It's like, if anything, it's the suburbs. But the classic horror, Texas Chainsaw Massacre or whatever, is people driving somewhere so rural.
Yeah, any a city-based horror movie is usually plays to the I wouldn't say fear, but I guess the fear like crowds. Like any movie that's based in a city is zombies or something like that.
Right, yeah, or like
where there's hordes of things and stuff like
Rosemary's Baby, where it's like like other people, you can't trust people, or like I think it's sort of it's interesting. It's a good debate. I don't know where.
Yeah, I've been getting anxious a lot about a lot of different things, and so like sometimes like before a performance, if I get anxious, I think we've talked about this before. I'll watch like cave crawling videos or cave diving.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
and then I've been watching cave diving videos where it's like those type of like confined spaces but underwater.
Oh yeah,
and shit like that. And I've been digging deeper, even more morbidly into that world, and it's literally just a channel that just chronicles cave disasters, all of those things, but no one makes it out. It's just.
Do you everyone knows Nutty Putty? Have you ever heard the Utah cave one? It was like I forget the name of the cave, but it was like a group of friends. It happened in like.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. So there was so basically a group of friends goes in the cave, and in order to get to this little hidden room, you have to swim in this little passage.
Yeah.
And then the one dude's like, I don't know how I can do that.
Yeah.
And then all his friends go in there, and then they swim back in the reverse order, and then the girl, I guess, missed the rope, drowns, and then blocks the waterway, and everyone going there also drowns. And it was literally,
so they each went from that little cavern room, diving down one at a time, only to drown because they're knocking into their dead friend.
Yeah, and
trapped in the tunnel,
and they're doing it on one breath. They're like they're holding, and in that room, this is what people were like speculating was the room that they go into, the air is not good. Because people burning candles and stuff, and and then also, so when they go and inhale that breath, it's not a good breath. And then
they were saying like you have to like the oxygen we breathe in the atmosphere is a very specific mix of oxygen and nitrogen and like a handful of stuff.
Yeah.
And if that mixes off, like could mess you up really bad.
Yeah, it throws off your equilibrium. You also get like almost like inebriation type of feeling.
Yeah,
And it's like, God damn. And what makes it crazier is I've watched that story be told on several different like channels.
Yeah,
and they go into the dimensions of the room. So I'm not sure how big this room is, but it's the equivalent. Like they said from the entry point and then underwater to the little room is only 15 feet.
Oh, okay.
So 4 people drowned in 15 feet. Not 15 feet deeper water. It was actually lower than that. It was like maybe 5 feet.
Yeah,
but it was like to the top of that particular cave structure, except on the other end, like both ends were open.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically from where we're at to like your bathroom.
Yeah, yeah.
And then drowning, and then you drowned, and let me go, and then yeah, that's an.
Yeah, imagine imagine the second girl, like jumping down, going to swim, and then you bump into your dead friend.
Yeah.
But they're also blocking, and you can't turn. They said it was so tight that you couldn't just turn around.
Yeah.
You'd have to push yourself back, but
yeah,
the oxygen was so
yeah, and you do it on one breath, and then one of the most terrifying ones, and I think part of this plays into like this recurring dream I used to have about me like basically elbow crawling through a very confined tunnel, half filled with mud and water.
I hate
That's
it.
why I think in my past life I think I was a tunnel rat.
Yeah,
I think we talked about that in one of the episodes before.
Yeah, yeah.
So this one always, oh my God, it's called the Mossdale Caverns. It's like in England. This was a long time ago. This particular story, I think it was, I want to say it was in the 60s. So the Mossdale Caverns, basically they had a group. There was like 4 guys. And then they had this girl that was, and she's like, I'm gonna stay. Basically, did what the Utah Cavern person did. The girl stayed at the end, and then they went and traversed all the little passages and stuff. So they're going to these like really tight fitting caves and all this stuff, and elbow crawls and stuff. What they didn't realize was a rainstorm was occurring. So it just started raining and raining and raining to the point where she was watching the entry point, and then the entry point gets covered with water, and then all that water flooded in the cave, and it filled all the passages and drowned them. And so so like there was like, and then they had to wait for it the water to subside, and they were getting like pumps and stuff trying to get the water out.
Yeah.
And so they finally, like by the next day, they finally were able to get enough water to where most of the passages were accessible. And so they were looking for so they found like 2 of the bodies, and they had to wait till the next day to try to do another search for the other 2, and they found the other 2 were like, there was like let's say there was like a cave, and then like there's like an opening up here where they were crawling so high to get to like an air pocket that they got wedged.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and it like. And in the air pocket, I mean, and I was just thinking, God, how fucking terrifying that is. It's like,
yeah,
you're crawling to this like little corner, and then the water just keeps rising, and it doesn't stop.
Brutal. It's,
yeah.
See, I don't watch that, but I'll do the same thing where I'll get anxiety, or like more so like I'll be working, and it's like after a handful of hours, and my job is a lot of math, so I'll be doing math, and it's a lot of like attention to. It's it's money stuff, so it's like I have to be very detailed that way, and I'll get burned out mentally, and I'm like to the point where I'm like, I don't even want to like move a mouse. Like moving a mouse and clicking something seems like manual labor.
Yeah,
and I'll watch micro dirty jobs.
Yeah,
and I'll watch people like laying concrete on highways and rebar.
Yeah,
and like tying rebar in like the Florida heat, and I'm like, oh, I'm such a pussy. I gotta start working again, and it will make me. It actually snaps me out of that like mode a lot of times.
Yeah,
because and it's just perspective, which you have to like give yourself sometime. And
Yeah,
Man.
I think back to some of the. I mean, I've done a lot of manual labor jobs, and so like I think back like to when I rolled, like for example, the farm show. Like, you know, when we rolled up there, I was like, really, we're performing here, like
Yeah.
I was like, but then I think about like all the times I was out in the Central Florida heat doing yard work and getting chased by yellow jackets and shit. Like, and
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
oh, you know what? This is not so bad, I guess. You know?
Oh yeah, no, like I pulled up and I was like, yes, you know, I was like, so what was so funny is that weekend prior to this,
Yeah.
to our farm show, my buddy is in Las Vegas. He's opening for Nick Swartzen at like this huge casino, like arena,
Yeah.
doing like these
Yeah.
huge, giant shows, and then some like talent scout from somewhere like saw him and get like, you know, he got like a connection somewhere, and so like all this stuff was happening, and we're like, wow, that's so awesome, that's so great. And I was like, I'm performing at a farm. So I was sending them pictures of like the chickens, and like, and I was like, here it is. And I was like, I was like, I'm networking with cows, and it's so funny. But it's so funny how comedy is like, you know, you do like huge shows and then you do like these tiny ones, but like,
Yeah.
you end up talking about the shit like that, you know.
Yeah.
The farm show, you talk about that.
Yeah.
It's the best.
Yeah. Sausage Castle farm show.
Yeah.
I gotta talk to Mike. But they were doing Halloween shows. I wanted to jump on there, but oh, that was another thing. It's like I got a show canceled recently.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Basically due to lack of interest.
It was the show you were running, or you?
No,
were on?
I was headlining.
Oh, okay.
And they canceled it due to lack of interest. And I my thing is like, I know I'm not, you know, I'm not a name, but part of me is like, you're gonna tell me this a week ahead of time? Like, you're not gonna give it a week to try to get ticket sales?
Just anything.
Also, here's where I get upset about like, you know, okay, I was already compromising the amount of money I was gonna make for the show. Like, I know my rate, and then they're like, oh, lack of interest, and then it's like, okay, so you're gonna book someone with more interest. If I had more people willing to pay tickets to fucking see me, I wouldn't do your shitty venue.
Yeah,
you know, that was my thing. It's
pretty straightforward.
I don't understand when they try to place the blame on me. Like, I'm going to promote as much as I can, you know. But I'm in another city. It wasn't here. It wasn't local. It was like a couple hours away, and it's like lack of interest. I'm like, yeah, like I'm one of the best options for what you were going to pay.
Right?
Pay us. Like, you know, it's insane. Like how everyone, like,
some of these places, fucking, it's unbelievable. It's crazy. Like what? It's nice when you get when you're valued well, you know.
Yeah.
If you get paid well, but yeah, when places are like, I don't know. I had this is way early on, so this is like a year or two into comedy, and I was headlining a local show, and I got there and there was nobody there, just the bartender, and she left to go buy drugs in the parking lot. And so I was standing in this place, and its bar is empty, and then the bartender goes and she's behind the bar, and I stand outside, and there was like 3 other comics on there.
Yeah.
And they showed up, and we're all standing outside, and there was not a soul. Not a person going to the bar or going to the shows. There was just nobody. And they're like, I guess we're just not going to do it. And I was like, okay. And I remember it was so early on in comedy. Taylor Tomlinson was one of the people on the show, because I remember talking to her out front.
Oh, wow.
And we all laughed about how the girl bought drugs. And and it was just, I remember thinking like, oh, I was like, this is. But then like after that would happen once in a while, and sometimes they would tell you like, just do the show anyway, because sometimes people will show up and come in.
Yeah.
And we used to laugh, and my buddy who just did the Vegas show that I was talking about, Bijan, he took a picture of me in a bar performing to just empty chairs, and it's one of my favorite pictures. It's like, but I'm like the lights like blurred out my face so you can't see, and he's took it from the back of the room, but it's just you could make it out that it's me, and it's just a sea of empty chairs. Just like it's so great, so fun.
Oh, that's funny. Those are, like I've done so many of those shows.
Yeah.
And I used to be booked to like crack open a lot of those shows.
Yeah.
And it's like, and once you like start moving up the rung in comedy, you're like, but you know, I'm still not a name or any of that shit like that. You get there, you're like, I still got to do these. I still got to do these fucking shows, you know.
Perform just for like two people. You know, like, talk directly to them.
Yeah, I mean now, ironically, so like I've had some of my favorite shows ever were low crowd or like barely anybody there, and I guess took it seriously. I wouldn't say took it seriously. I just treated the few people that were there with respect for showing up.
Yeah, you still want to put on a show and stuff.
So one of my favorite shows, probably of all time, of my sets or whatever, was we did this show at this. It was a side room for a mystery dinner theater, and basically we normally do shows and open mics on a Saturday at that venue, and embark people exiting from the mystery dinner theater side to that side room.
Oh yeah.
So this one was a different departure from that. We were doing a show basically at the same time as the mystery dinner theater. So there was no chance of barking, but we were gonna promote online and then like, you know, promote it and it was also a different night of the week. So we have a stack lineup. Everyone brought merch, all this shit, you know. We get there and no one's there up until literally 2 minutes before showtime, and then a family from Ohio shows up, and they're like, "We just saw the sign. There's comedy tonight," and we're like, "Well, we were going to cancel it because no one showed up." And like, "Well, if we show up, you guys going to cancel?" And we were like, "So come on in," and we were all, you could collectively see everyone go, fuck, you know, like we gotta because they seem
it is nice getting to the point when if you do it for long enough and you go, God, I hope they cancel this show. It'd be so nice. It'd be so nice and toasty warm if they just cancel the show.
And they were so enthusiastic. They were so enthusiastic. We didn't have the heart to tell them, okay, come on. And then so the host goes up. And like, how's everyone doing? And then this family just gave us all the energy. I don't know if they were just like used to be Amish or something like that. It was just like the energy they were giving us was like, what the fuck is happening right now? So the host is doing the jokes. They're cracking up and they're laughing. If you weren't in the room and you just heard the laughter, you would have thought there was 20 people in there.
That's awesome.
It was insane. So, and they did that for
fun.
Every comedian. They responded to crowd work. They responded to us roasting them.
Yeah.
You know, all these different things. And then afterwards, we're like, all right, just heads up. We're all professional comics. We all have merch. Don't feel obligated to buy anything, but we're going to present it if you wanted to take a look at it. And they bought merch from every fucking person, dude.
Wow.
And I was like, what is this? I told him several times during my set, I'm like, I wish I could clone you guys and just carry, like, like a U-Haul.
Just make entire audiences like that.
Oh, my God. And I've done.
It would be great. I bet it's like that for a certain small. Well, that one dude who's really funny, who was on the Grace Note Brewery show. He's from Georgia somewhere. Brunswick Stew.
Austin.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does a slow grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was really funny. He was saying that where he's from, he said like people are like really into comedy shows because there's not a lot to do.
Oh, there's not.
And I was like, I guess that makes sense. I've only lived in cities where you're competing with a lot of other stuff to try to get people to come out. So I'm like, I've never really done a whole lot of shows in like really small areas. Really, only with you. Like when I've opened shows for you. Outside of that, I'm used to like it's always like crowded areas or whatever. But
yeah, I need to get used to doing more shows in industry cities because I literally cut my teeth on doing nothing but small city shows. Like, some of my favorite shows have been those because of that reason. Like, there's literally nothing else. They treat you sometimes, depending on where you're at, they treat you like you're royalty. Like, because you are literally. I did a show where a guy. It was like a. I want to say it was like a VFW or something like that. And I'm trying to remember. I think it was Astor, Florida. And we go to this VFW, and this guy is heckling everyone on the show. And I did not realize this because it was like 200 people. Astor, Florida only has a population of like 2,000 people. The mayor was at the show.
Oh my God.
The mayor was at the show. He comes to me afterwards and apologizes on behalf of the city of Astor. I'm sorry. And I did the math. I'm like, dude, 10% of the population of this city attended the show.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was like I was like, who are you? And I thought he was like the manager of the VFW or something. He goes, no, I'm the mayor of Astor, Florida.
Wow.
And I just want to apologize for. He goes, we're not all like that. I'm like, no, I know that Dave is like that. If Dave fucking sucks, you guys are pretty cool. But I just never had the mayor of the city.
That's
like
funny.
on behalf. I want to apologize for you not being able to finish that dick joke. You know, like it's like so weird.
Not enough of our townspeople heard the story about your stinky balls.
Yeah, they didn't get to hear that extra tag about your dick cheese. You know.
Well,
yeah, dude.
Well, it's not fun. To drown in a cavern.
It's cool to be foolish.
Yeah, you know.